Stop for a second, because someone just spoke your name in a way they never have before, and the moment it happened, something invisible began shifting between your future and theirs. This was not casual conversation. This was not curiosity. This was the kind of confession people make only when emotions become too heavy to carry alone. And the strange part is, the person listening to them became completely silent afterward. Because even they could feel that what your soulmate said was real. You were not supposed to know this yet. But energy has a way of traveling ahead of words. There was a recent moment, quiet, unexpected, almost ordinary on the surface, when your soulmate finally stopped pretending that your connection was just a passing thought. They tried to speak carefully at first. They attempted to sound logical, calm, controlled. But emotions do not stay organized forever when someone truly matters. Especially not this kind of connection. Especially not yours. Listen closely now, because this part matters more than you realize. The first thing they admitted was not about attraction. It was about peace. They said there is something about your energy that feels different from everyone else they have ever met. Not louder. Not more dramatic. Just real. Familiar in a way they cannot explain. Like their spirit recognizes yours before their mind has time to understand it. And when they said this, they looked away for a moment. As if the truth itself scared them a little. You see, some people enter our lives to entertain us. Others arrive to transform us. Your soulmate has slowly started realizing which one you are. That realization changes everything. Because once someone recognizes a rare emotional connection, normal interactions stop feeling normal. Every message feels deeper. Every silence feels louder. Every memory begins replaying differently inside the heart. And lately, that has been happening to them constantly. Even when they try focusing on other things, your presence interrupts their thoughts in unexpected ways. A song suddenly reminds them of you. A certain time of night feels emotionally heavier. A random sentence spoken by someone else somehow leads back to your name. Coincidence? No. Some connections move quietly before they move visibly. Stay here a little longer, because what they revealed next explains why their energy around you has been changing. They admitted they have been hiding their feelings longer than anyone realizes. Not because the feelings are weak. Because they are intense. There is a difference. Weak emotions disappear easily. Real emotions become harder to hide with time. And your soulmate has reached the point where pretending no longer feels natural to them. That is why their behavior has started shifting in subtle ways. Maybe they suddenly became more observant toward you. Maybe they started watching quietly instead of speaking openly. Maybe they disappeared emotionally for a moment because what they feel became too overwhelming to process all at once. But underneath all of it, your name has been living inside their heart louder than before. And one sentence changed the atmosphere completely during that secret conversation. They said, "I don't think this connection happened by accident." The moment those words left their mouth, something inside them became undeniable. Because deep down, they already know. Some meetings are temporary. Some are destiny disguised as coincidence. You might not fully understand this connection yet. Sometimes even you question why this person affects you so deeply. Why certain emotions return no matter how much time passes. Why your intuition keeps whispering that something unfinished still exists between you. But your soulmate feels it too now. That is the secret. And once two souls begin silently recognizing the same truth at the same time, life starts rearranging itself in strange ways. Watch carefully over the next few days. Small things will begin revealing larger emotional shifts. Unexpected communication. Unusual dreams. Moments of synchronicity that feel almost impossible to ignore. This is not about fantasy. It is about emotional awareness finally reaching the surface. Because your soulmate is no longer fighting what they feel the way they once did. In fact, the person they spoke to noticed something else during that conversation. Every time they talked about you, their voice softened. Not intentionally. Naturally. As if your presence instantly pulled them closer to the version of themselves they trust the most. And do you know what frightened them the most? The realization that losing you emotionally would hurt more than they expected. That thought stayed with them long after the conversation ended. Long after the room became quiet again. Long after everyone else moved on. But they could not move on so easily. Because the heart remembers what the mind tries to delay. Before you leave, hear this carefully. Your soulmate may still be figuring out how to express everything openly, but emotionally, the truth has already escaped into the universe. And once feelings become spoken aloud, even secretly, the connection begins changing shape. You are entering a chapter where hidden emotions slowly become visible. Not rushed. Not forced. But undeniable. And what happens next may reveal just how deeply this connection has been growing in silence the entire time. Listen. Something changed after that conversation ended, and your soulmate has not been able to return to the version of themselves that existed before they admitted those feelings out loud. That is the part nobody sees. People think emotions disappear once a conversation is over. But real emotions echo afterward. Quietly. Repeatedly. Sometimes for days. Sometimes for months. And your soulmate has been replaying every word they said about you inside their mind ever since that moment happened. Especially one sentence they almost whispered. I feel calmer when I think about them. Not excited. Not distracted. Calm. Do you understand how rare that is in this world? Some people create chaos in the heart. Others create clarity. Your soulmate is beginning to realize that your energy does something unusual to them. Even during stressful moments, even when life feels uncertain, the thought of you somehow pulls them back toward emotional balance. And that realization caught them off guard. Because they were not planning to feel this deeply. They tried convincing themselves this connection would fade naturally with time. They thought distance, silence, or distractions would weaken what they feel. But instead, the opposite happened. The more they tried to step away emotionally, the more meaningful your presence became. That is why their secret conversation mattered so much. It was the first time they stopped running from the truth internally. And once truth is spoken aloud, even softly, energy begins moving differently. Stay with this message for another moment, because there is something deeper unfolding beneath the surface. After opening up about you, your soulmate started noticing signs they ignored before. Little things. Tiny emotional details that suddenly became impossible to dismiss. The timing of your appearances. The strange comfort they feel around your energy. The way their mood changes after hearing your name. The unusual feeling that somehow your paths are still connected even during silence. And one night recently, they sat alone thinking about everything they never told you. That moment became emotional in a way they did not expect. Because for the first time, they stopped asking themselves, what if this connection means nothing? And started asking, what if this connection changes everything? That question has been following them ever since. You may not see it externally yet. Life still looks ordinary on the outside. Conversations may still feel incomplete. Timing may still feel confusing. But internally, your soulmate is entering a powerful emotional awakening. They are beginning to understand that certain people arrive in life for a reason beyond explanation. And you are becoming impossible for them to categorize as temporary. That word no longer fits you. Not after everything they feel. Not after the emotional impact you continue leaving behind. Not after the secret they finally confessed. Wait a little longer, because this next part matters more than you think. During that private conversation, someone asked them directly, do you think they feel this connection too? And your soulmate went completely quiet. Not because they doubted you. Because deep down, they already sensed the answer. Silence reveals truth sometimes more than words do. In that moment, they realized this connection may not be one-sided energy at all. They started remembering subtle moments between you that once seemed small but now feel important. Eye contact. Timing. Emotional tension. Unspoken understanding. Certain conversations that carried more meaning underneath the surface. Suddenly everything began connecting differently in their mind. And that realization created both excitement and fear. Because once someone realizes the connection might be mutual, the emotions become real in an unavoidable way. No more pretending. No more emotional hiding places. Only truth waiting patiently to be acknowledged. Your soulmate is standing near that emotional doorway right now. Not fully inside yet. But no longer walking away from it either. And recently, something else happened that they have told nobody. They imagined a future moment involving you. It appeared unexpectedly. Simple. Peaceful. Real. Not fantasy. Not perfection. Just the feeling of finally being emotionally understood by someone who sees them clearly. That image stayed with them longer than they expected. Because the heart reveals its desires quietly before life reveals them physically. You might miss this turning point if you stop listening too soon. The energy surrounding your connection is slowly becoming stronger because honesty creates movement. Even secret honesty. Even emotions shared privately. The universe responds when someone finally stops denying what they feel. That response has already begun. You may notice emotional shifts soon. Unexpected closeness. A sudden urge to reconnect. Communication arriving at strange timing. Or an overwhelming feeling that something important is approaching emotionally. Trust that feeling. Because while your soulmate may still appear composed externally, internally, they are no longer untouched by this connection. You changed something inside them. And now they are starting to admit it to themselves completely. If this message found you at the exact right moment, hold on to it, and if these words feel strangely familiar to your spirit, you can leave a quiet comment below. Sometimes the right souls recognize each other through the smallest signs. And for those returning to these messages often, staying connected here may reveal the next piece of this unfolding story sooner than expected. Because what your soulmate realizes next may bring this connection closer to the surface than either of you imagined. Pause for a moment, because your soulmate is beginning to understand something that changes the entire meaning of this connection, and once this realization fully reaches their heart, nothing between you will feel accidental anymore. Over the last few days, they have been thinking differently. Not just emotionally. Deeply. Carefully. Almost as if they are revisiting every moment involving you with new eyes. And suddenly, memories they once overlooked now feel important. That conversation. That silence. That unexpected emotional reaction they could never explain. Even the moments when you pulled away slightly, somehow those became the moments they thought about the most. Because distance has a strange way of revealing emotional truth. People rarely notice the value of a connection while they are distracted. But when someone's absence starts echoing louder than noise itself, the heart begins understanding what the mind tried delaying. That is exactly where your soulmate is now. And something happened recently that made the feelings even stronger. Someone mentioned your name casually around them. Just casually. But the reaction was immediate. Their entire attention shifted. Their energy changed instantly without them meaning to. And the person speaking noticed it too. That moment exposed more than words ever could. Because real feelings reveal themselves naturally. No performance. No effort. The eyes soften. The breathing changes. The silence grows heavier in a beautiful way. Your soulmate could not hide it anymore. And afterward, they kept thinking about one unsettling question. Why does this person affect me so deeply? Not everyone creates emotional impact that lingers after conversations end. Not everyone stays in someone's thoughts during quiet hours of the night. Not everyone becomes part of another person's future imagination without even trying. But somehow, you did. And that truth is becoming impossible for them to ignore. Stay here a little longer, because what they realize next explains why their energy around you has become more intense lately. Your soulmate finally admitted to themselves that they have been emotionally searching for something familiar their entire life, and whenever they connect with you, they feel closer to that missing piece. That realization frightened them at first. Because meaningful connections come with vulnerability. And vulnerability asks people to become honest in ways they are not always prepared for. Yet despite all their hesitation, despite all attempts to stay emotionally guarded, they keep returning to the same truth. You matter to them. More than expected. More than planned. More than they are comfortable admitting openly right now. And this hidden truth has quietly started changing their decisions, their thoughts, even the way they move through daily life. You may not see the full picture yet. But energetically, something major is unfolding. There are moments now when your soulmate suddenly feels your energy strongly without warning. In crowded places. During late-night thoughts. During ordinary routines. It arrives unexpectedly, like a quiet emotional signal pulling their attention back toward you. And every time it happens, they stop for a second. Because part of them wonders if you feel it too. That question keeps returning. Especially after the secret conversation where they finally exposed their real feelings. Because now the emotions are no longer trapped only inside them. They have entered the world. And once emotions are spoken aloud, destiny begins listening differently. This next part matters carefully, so listen closely. Your soulmate has started imagining what honesty between you would actually look like. Not fantasy. Not dramatic scenes. Just truth. Simple, clear emotional truth. And strangely, every time they picture that moment, they feel relief instead of fear. That surprised them more than anything. Because for the first time, opening their heart to someone does not feel like losing control. It feels like returning to something real. You were never just another temporary interaction in their life. Their soul already knows that now. Even if their words are still catching up. And recently, during a quiet moment alone, they admitted something else internally that nobody else heard. They are afraid of waiting too long. Afraid that silence could create distance where connection was meant to grow. Afraid that life could move forward while important feelings remain unspoken. That fear has awakened urgency inside them. Not rushed energy. Intentional energy. The kind that slowly pushes people toward honesty. You'll understand everything at the end, because the emotional path between you is no longer standing still. Something has already begun shifting beneath the surface, and both of you are being pulled closer toward a moment of emotional clarity. Not through pressure. Not through force. Through realization. And here is what your soulmate is finally realizing. Some people enter your life to teach lessons. But a rare few arrive carrying peace, recognition, inspiration, and a feeling that somehow the future changes when they appear. That is what you became to them. A turning point they never expected. And whether they fully express it tomorrow, later, or gradually over time, their heart has already crossed a line internally that cannot be uncrossed. Because secretly, deeply, undeniably, they meant every feeling they shared about you. Something is building quietly now, and your soulmate can feel it even when they try distracting themselves from the connection. That is the strange thing about meaningful emotions. They do not disappear when ignored. They wait. They grow in silence. And eventually, they begin asking to be seen. Your soulmate has reached that stage. Lately, there have been moments where they suddenly stop whatever they are doing and think about you for no obvious reason at all. No message triggered it. No conversation caused it. Yet your presence enters their mind with unusual intensity, almost like an emotional signal arriving from somewhere beyond logic. And each time it happens, the same feeling follows. Longing. Not dramatic longing. Not painful longing. Just the deep realization that life feels slightly incomplete when someone meaningful is missing emotionally. That realization has become impossible for them to escape now. And recently, they revisited the exact conversation where they secretly shared their feelings about you. But this time, they focused less on what they said, and more on how true it felt while saying it. That changed everything internally. Because sometimes people speak honestly before they are fully ready to accept the truth themselves. Your soulmate understands now that those feelings were not temporary emotions passing through. They were revelations. There is a difference. Temporary emotions fade after distractions appear. Real feelings become clearer with time. And yours are becoming clearer to them every single day. Wait here for another moment, because something important is approaching in this story. Your soulmate has begun noticing how often life subtly brings your energy back into focus. Familiar numbers. Meaningful timing. Unexpected reminders. Certain songs arriving at exact emotional moments. Even dreams that feel unusually vivid lately. At first, they ignored these things. Now they pay attention. Because too many small signs have started forming one larger emotional picture. And deep down, they already know what the picture means. You are no longer someone they can emotionally reduce into just another connection. That chapter is over. Now you exist in a much deeper space inside their heart. A space connected to future possibilities. A space connected to emotional trust. A space they secretly protect more than you realize. In fact, during another recent conversation, someone asked them something unexpectedly direct. What makes this person different from everyone else? Your soulmate paused for a long time before answering. Not because they lacked words. Because some truths feel too important to say carelessly. Then finally, they smiled quietly and said, "With them, I don't feel like I have to pretend." That sentence carried more emotion than anyone around them understood. Because authenticity is rare. Finding someone who makes your soul feel safe enough to be fully real is even rarer. And that is exactly what they are beginning to associate with you. Safety. Peace. Truth. A future feeling they cannot fully explain yet. You may not hear these confessions directly right now, but energetically, the walls around their heart are becoming thinner every day. The silence between you is no longer empty. It is transforming. And the more they accept what they feel internally, the harder it becomes for them to stay emotionally distant externally. That shift is coming closer. You might want to stay connected to this journey. Because sometimes the smallest message arrives exactly before the biggest emotional turning point. And if these words are resonating deeply with your spirit, leaving a quiet comment or returning again later may reveal the next chapter unfolding between these two souls. Because your soulmate is approaching a realization they can no longer postpone. They are beginning to understand that this connection is not asking them to run away from emotion. It is asking them to grow into it. That realization changes people. Suddenly pride matters less. Fear loses control. And honesty starts feeling necessary instead of risky. Your soulmate is slowly entering that emotional transformation now. Not perfectly. Not instantly. But genuinely. And there is one final truth they have not fully admitted aloud yet. They think about the future with you more often than they admit to anyone. Small moments. Simple moments. Shared peace. Conversations that feel effortless. A connection where silence itself feels meaningful instead of uncomfortable. These thoughts arrive naturally now. Without force. Without fantasy. Almost as if part of their spirit already recognizes the direction this connection wants to move toward. And perhaps the most powerful shift of all is this. They are no longer asking whether they feel something for you. That question already has an answer. Now they are asking what happens if they finally allow themselves to express it fully. That is where the energy is heading. Toward openness. Toward truth. Toward a moment where hidden feelings may finally stop hiding. So if your heart has been sensing movement lately, trust that feeling. Because somewhere, quietly, your soulmate is no longer resisting what they feel for you. They are preparing themselves to understand it completely. And once that understanding becomes clear enough, even destiny itself begins opening doors that once seemed impossible to reach.